if you don't know, one Mr. Jalen Johnson has opted out of the rest of the season and is going to um, enter his name into the NBA draft a few weeks before the season ends. As uh, are we Goodman? Is it a Goodman bomb?
No, I don't. I think it was me and somebody else at about the same time. So I don't
Okay.
think I necessarily broke it, but I'm not surprised by it, Dre,
Mm-hmm.
because back in what it was December. I think I was in Charleston at the time. Yeah, I was. I was in Charleston for a couple of weeks, and that's when I put out there. There's more to the foot injury. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
buying the foot injury, and I put it out there. There was so much more going on behind the scenes. I said it. I tweeted it. Duke fans kind of came at me for
Mm-hmm.
it, saying I was a Duke hater. But trust me, now I think everybody realizes there was more going on behind the scenes all
Yeah.
year between Jalen Johnson's camp and Duke. And ultimately, I'm not sure this is bad for either side.
Mm-hmm.
I actually think it's kind of a win-win for both. A lot of people say, well, Jalen Johnson quit. Listen, I hate to say anybody quit in a pandemic right now. That's
Mm-hmm.
the only thing I'll say in the kid's behalf is we're in a pandemic. He's got a lot of people pulling at him. He came into the season as a lottery pick projected. He sees his stock falling. He plays 8 minutes.
Yeah. In a
And he says,
blowout.
you know what? I'm going to protect. And agents are all over him. So
Mm-hmm.
agents are in his ear, in his dad's ear, telling him, you know what? The more you play, 8 minutes, the more your stock is going to fall. So you might want to just bail at
Yeah.
this point. And that's what I think happened. I don't have 100% confirmation on that, but I think it's similar to what happened with Terrence Clark at Kentucky, where
Mm-hmm.
stocks falling, stocks falling. All right, you know what? We got
We'll
to. We're
stop it
done.
here and yeah, just get ready for the draft. Yeah, I can see that, especially. I mean, it doesn't look great um, when you only play 8 minutes and they play one of their better games of the year
Right,
on
right.
both ends of the court. So, yeah, I tend to agree with what you said about um, it's okay for both sides. I think. Either way, whether he played the rest of the season or not, he's not going to be there next year. So it gives guys like Mark,
Yep.
a chance to really like he's not looking over his shoulder. He's going to get a lot of minutes, and for this year and moving forward. So it's good for the Duke team because we got a lot of young guys who are going to hopefully be back on the team next year. So they get a chance to be on the court together and play together. And um,
Chemistry. Chemistry,
yeah,
how
yeah,
important is chemistry?
yeah, very, very. Um, Won us a championship in 2010. So
Sure did. Your chemistry that year was ridiculous.
yeah,
I mean, you weren't the most talented team,
no.
right? You would agree.
Um, no, I don't. Yeah, we definitely weren't the most talented. Kentucky was the most talented team by
Right.
far.
Right. But I
Um,
think I think again, I think, was Jalen Johnson a distraction? I don't know. I don't know how much of a distraction. I don't know how much it affected the other players.
hmm
But again, listen, if Coach K wanted to keep Jalen Johnson, he would have played him more than 8 minutes last game,
Yeah,
period. So I don't think he's fretting about Jalen Johnson leaving, especially because, to me, if you're going to lose games, right, if you're going to lose games, you're going to lose games with people that are bought in
yeah,
completely. And I think they
absolutely.
felt like Jalen was never completely bought in. And he's not alone. It's different than when you were in college, right? It's changed now a little bit to where
hmm
there's more people pulling at these kids, social media, whatnot. But yeah, I don't think Jalen Johnson was fully invested. I think he thought he was a one and done, and he's going to be a three quarters and done at the end.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I don't know. I'm not in the locker room, so I won't speculate on that. But um, yeah, it is important to have guys bought in, especially at the college level. The NBA level is a little bit different, but I mean, you obviously still like to have guys bought in, but you can kind of work around that. But um, and knowing coach, I just don't think that is something he would go along with in the sense of like you're gonna have to if you want to play, then earn your playing time. It's not gonna be a like I'm gonna play you so you don't go anywhere.
Yep.
So I don't see that really sitting too well.
What was the biggest problem with him
coach.
on the court, Trey? Like, what did you think from watching him? He had his moments. I mean, came out.
Yeah. When he played good. When he was, really fully locked in, he was great. He was great. And, he did it a few times. He started the year amazing. And I'm like, oh man, this is
that Morgan State game. That Morgan State game, we were like, whoa.
Okay, this
my
guy's
man here, right?
Yeah, it's like 19 and 19.
Yeah.
The Pitt awesome. Game, the second half he kept us in it by himself. But then you also have the games where you're on the opposite end of the spectrum and you're getting a lot of empty minutes. Him not doing a whole lot. And I don't know. I think I don't know if you're worried about the next thing, it's hard to do well on the thing that you're doing currently.
Yeah.
And so if you're worried about my stock, I got to get onto the league and this, that, and the third, it's hard to be good at the game you're playing now because, in college, it's such a team game. You need your teammates and he's not, and no disrespect to him at all, he's not this transcendent player. So he can't, I don't
because he can't do this.
Right.
Dre.
Right. And so I don't think that he could just kind of float through games and, you know what I mean? Like if like a Zion was like, man, whatever, like, yeah, he can do that because no one can do anything about him. But not, again, no disrespect to Jalen. I think he's good. I think he's a good player. And I think he'll have a, decade-long career or so in the league. But
who's he like? Who do you watch in the NBA and you say he can be like ultimately? I hate to play the comparison game, but I feel like sometimes you want to project, all right, what Jalen Johnson, again, not a great shooter, not a great like decent passer,
Yeah. I think he makes some good passes at times. But that's tough. I mean, I think we talked about it earlier in the year. At his best, he's a poor man's Ben Simmons.
Yeah.
And at his worst, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know that he sees the court much.